The U.S. is not alone in struggling with high unemployment. According to the World Bank Group, the number of people without jobs around the world hit 212 million last year. That's 34 million more than at the start of the global financial crisis back in 2007. And the World Bank's latest report, Doing Business 2011, says the key to reversing the trend is small and medium-sized businesses. Well, joining us now from Washington is Gregory from the World Bank Group, where he is the acting director of global indicators and analysis. Welcome, Neil.
Hi, Lisa.
Well, doing these studies, what you're looking at these surveys is business regulation. That's essential, right? Business regulation, it's essential to make it easy for these entrepreneurs or small business owners to actually run a company in any country around the world. But what criteria specifically do you use in figuring that out?
So we look at all the key touch points in the life of a small business where they need to interact with government, from the time when they're getting their initial license and starting to operate, through getting access to credit, dealing with courts and enforcing contracts, trading across borders, all the way through to insolvency regimes. And the way that governments implement these processes can make life easier or harder for small businesses, which, as you started with unemployment figures, I would note that 80% of new jobs around the world are created by small businesses.
And that's a very good point. One thing I noticed in the survey is that there has been some very rapid change. And I was surprised to see that you did rankings of where it's easiest to do business from a business regulation perspective. Why don't we talk about that for a minute? Because it isn't the U.S.
That's right. In fact, the pace is being led by some of the East Asian economies. Singapore and Hong Kong are the two top-ranked countries on our report this year, followed by New Zealand, also in the Pacific region. The United States actually comes in fifth in this year's ranking.
And what country is most improved? We spend a lot of our time, particularly in business news, talking about China and the opportunities overseas. But Asia overall has seen a rapid improvement in terms of a business-friendly environment.
It has, and I think now Asia is also focusing more on its small business sector. Traditionally, we think East Asia has been a big magnet for foreign investment, and now I think trying to rebalance their economies following the crisis, there's now more focus by policymakers on developing their domestic businesses, including small businesses. So, for example, Vietnam, we see for the first time, was ranked fourth in terms of the countries that have improved the most over the last year.
Now, how do you expect this to actually affect global trends? I mean, the U.S., I was surprised to see, fell to number 5 on the list. Does that mean that we could potentially see more entrepreneurs staying in their home countries? Years ago, it used to be people came to the U.S. to sort of realize the American dream. But are we starting to could we eventually see more people just staying in their home countries, less immigration here in the U.S.?
So I think as small businesses are important for job creation, and that's what people are looking for, I think the growth of small businesses around the world is certainly going to create more opportunities for people in their home countries. And we're seeing this really as something which is spreading beyond the OECD countries to regions like Africa, where 3 of the top 10 improvers this year are located. So this, I think, is an encouraging trend in terms of prospects for people looking to make a living.
In developing countries, what do you find are the most important things that these policymakers have changed to make life easier for business owners?
Well, one big focus following the financial crisis has been on improving insolvency regimes, particularly in Eastern Europe, which was badly affected by the crisis. Countries like Kazakhstan, Hungary. There's been a big focus on making it quicker and easier for companies to restructure and reorganize, and that helps put people back to work and put capital back to work more quickly.
All right, Gregory from the World Bank Group, thank you very much for joining us today with your Doing Business survey for 2011.